Got Your Back Pod Stream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at MrDirk.com.
Oh yes, got your back live from the Stanley Cup Final Series shifts to Florida, and we are here. Well, at least I am. Sorry, Brownie. Sorry, Zuby. Sorry, Struds. You guys are back home. 34 degrees today in Florida. It was an absolute beauty. And the Oilers, full team skate today. We got some updates for you. Some new new D combinations, I should say. We'll talk a little Nuge and Hopkins. We got news to get to. Mark Masters joining us on the program tonight as well. It's going to be a dandy, folks. Looking forward to it. Welcome to Got Your Back, presented as always by our title sponsor, Play Alberta. When you gamble, use your game sense. Play Alberta makes it easy to set deposit limits, time limits, and more, so you can play casino games and bet on sports safely, securely, and responsibly. Everything you need to know is at playalberta.ca. I always complain when other people do podcasts and you can see their bed behind them in a hotel room, because I just feel like it's awkward and too intimate for a podcast. But I got no choice here in my mobile Adrenaline Diesel studio. I'm in a small hotel room in Fort Lauderdale. That's your background in the Adrenaline Diesel studio. If you need a part manufactured, replicated, or repaired, Adrenaline Diesel has you covered with their brand new machine shop. Visit AdrenalineDiesel.ca. How we doing, fellers? Brownie, how you doing, pal?
I'm doing very well, thank you very much. It's not Florida weather here, but it was pretty nice still today here. Playoff weather is what it is.
Yeah. Struddy, what'd you get up to today, bud?
Nothing crazy, but you know what? I love that shirt. Did you get that shirt when you had the Blue Hair Special dinner at 4 p.m. at Del Boca Vista?
Oh, buddy, this is straight from DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center. Travis Matthews. Spring summer line 2025, buddy. This is going to be aces on the golf course this year.
It is beautiful, but did it say senior on it when you looked at the little tag?
Okay. Yes, it's not. This is youthful. This is exuberant. There's a lot to
maybe
this.
Maybe it's not the golf shirt. Maybe it's the one wearing the golf shirt. My apologies. The golf shirt is nice.
You, Player LeBron, Darren Dragon to his friends. Are you guys all wearing those? Are those team shirts you guys are wearing around?
Zuby, help me out here, buddy. Help me out. You got anything for me?
I was gonna go I like it. I was gonna go another way. It's from the sponsor. It looks very nice on you. It's fitting. You're down there in Florida. It's Florida gear, so they obviously geared you up before you headed down there. That was very nice of them.
Struddy, I had a nightmare moment for you. It would have been a nightmare moment for you today. Yeah, I got to tell you about this. So, by the way, I'm finding this shot really awkward, Zuby, because you've got my head is the highest, then Brownie's is and then Struddy. We got to fix this, buddy. We need a little continuity here for our heads. Like, we're not even close. Look at the three of us.
Just crouch down a little, Shaugger.
Well, I can't.
I want you to hunch over.
So I'm at the rink today, and we're getting ready to shoot our hits for Sports Center. But I really had to use the washroom. Number one, needed to find a bathroom. But we're a little tight for time. I've been keeping the guys waiting and stuff. So I'm at the rink, and I walk into the men's bathroom, Struds, and there are 3 ladies in there cleaning it. And so I was like, I just sort of stopped dead in my tracks, and they looked at me, and I looked at them, and one of them was in one of the stalls, another one was cleaning the sinks, and another one was like there was a long line of urinals, and she was kind of going one to the next at the urinals. And so the one in the stall didn't even know I was there. The one in the sinks looked at me and sort of froze, and then the one doing the urinals, which I needed, turned around and looked, and she looked at me, and she had like this brush in her hand, and she looked at me, and then she looked at the other one, and the other one nodded, and the one at the urinals goes, It's okay. And like I had to go. We were in an emergency situation. I had people waiting for me on set. So I went and stood over at one of the urinals and
Well,
went to the washroom with 3 ladies in the washroom with me. It was, I mean, it was there were side panels and it was all very, as private as it can be.
I
But it was
I
a
hope you
weird
picked
feeling going to the bathroom with 3 girls in the
Shaugger. I
bathroom.
hope you picked one of the urinals that she hadn't cleaned yet. I hope you didn't go in there with pee in the one that she cleaned after you did all that.
Buddy, that's worse. That's worse.
No,
You think
you
she
don't
wants to
know.
look at the guy and then go clean it after I've used? No,
Well,
I went
I
use
don't
one of
want
the
her.
ones she was
She just
done with
cleaned all
for
those,
the
put
day.
that effort in, and if nobody even gets to see it, all of a sudden you walk in and pee all over the place. No, pee in the dirty one.
All right. I'm
Seriously,
just saying. Struds, what would you
no.
have done? What would you have done?
I would have gone through the motions, like Brownie back checking. I would have pretended that I had peed, right? I would have been going through. No, I mean, and not a shot at Brownie. I just want people to get the context, right? Like, there's no way I would have been able to do that. And then I would have walked out there with a full bladder and would have been in agony for the next half hour till I found, because I can't do it. I cannot. It's like trying to get water out of a frozen garden hose. It's not coming. It's just not coming.
I would have had
Frozen.
no problem. I would have walked in there, a peed. All right, high fived her on the way out. It would have been fine for me.
Did you consider a stall? Was there another stall available? You could have just gone and been modest.
Yeah, but now no, the stall didn't feel like an option. There was only a couple of them, and I didn't know which ones she had been in and hadn't been in, and it just, at the end of the day, like, it's
So it
probably
mattered
not.
there.
It doesn't need to be a big deal. But I was thinking of Struds while I was going, and I was like, I wonder what Struddy would be doing in this situation right now. I actually thought
Not
that.
peeing. I wouldn't be peeing. I'll tell you that right now.
All right. Well, anything on the stream there, Zuby? Any good comments on the stream?
Zachary
see,
Hahn says you should dribble on the floor.
Okay. Let's keep it classy. Keep it classy, Zachary. Todd Gack says I would have unloaded, so he'd have gone too. Jerry Mancini says in this instance, the ladies are supposed to leave the washroom. I don't know what protocol is. Like if you're a male member of the custodial staff and you're male and a female walks into the bathroom, like you would leave, I would think. Anyways, I don't want to get into weird territory. It just happened to me. I thought about
Too
you,
late.
Struds. Too late.
Wait,
That's the weirdest part. You don't want it to get weird. The weirdest part is you thought of Struds while you were going.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, good point.
That
That
is
is a
hard.
good point.
Yeah, I was
No,
thinking of
hold on.
Struddy and his frozen garden hose. All right, let's get to the breakdown. Brought to you by the Alberta Ram dealers. Ram trucks continue to deliver with power, style, and innovation. The 2025 Ram 1500 features a bold new powertrain, a redesigned exterior, and state-of-the-art technology. Check out the most awarded light-duty truck ever by going to see your Ram dealer today. Oh, we're off to a fantastic start tonight on the show here, fellas. So we have new D pairings to discuss and a lack of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on the ice at practice today. Maybe let's just start there. They're going to say he's day-to-day. Chris Knobloch, obviously, they're very hopeful that he'll be able to play. If there's any way Nugent-Hopkins can play, he's going to. So I'd be surprised if he wasn't in the lineup, but wasn't on the ice today. Jeff Skinner was taking his place in the line rushes with McDavid and Corey Perry. Brownie, we're thinking maybe a slash or something that happened there.
I remember during the game that there was that one instance where he got slashed around the hand area as he was coming across, and he kind of shook his hand, looked at the guy that slashed him, and looked at the ref. And then that was the end of it. I just remember most times when a guy gets slashed, you don't even acknowledge it. You don't want to give the other guy the satisfaction. But I remember he shook his hand. Now, he might be sick with food poisoning. He might have the flu. He might have a cough. Could be just about anything. But there's the one thing that crossed my mind when I heard he wasn't on the ice. But I agree with you. I can't see him not playing tomorrow. But it would be a really, really big loss to the Edmonton Oilers without Zach Hyman if all of a sudden RNH isn't in the lineup for Game 3.
Yeah, it'd be a really big deal, especially with Hyman out already, Brownie. So, I one time I broke the end of my thumb, and there was one game before the Olympic break, and they said, you'll be fine. And I could barely hold my stick, and then I took a little pill, and I was fine by the start of the game. And you just kind of play through it. So, luckily my hands probably were same as Nuge, so it's a fair comparable. But I'd be floored, guys, if he's not in there. I believe he will be in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we did notice some new D pairings today at practice, and they were kind of interesting to say the least. So Evan Bouchard and Darnell Nurse skating together on a D pairing. You had Brett Kulak and Jake Wallman and Matthias Ekholm and John Klingberg. So we have seen this coaching staff shift all three pairings mid-series. They did it in these playoffs, and it worked out very well. I believe when they did that, they changed all four lines and all three D pairings and didn't give up a goal for basically 2 straight games. But these are different combinations. So Struddy, the big D man, is this a head fake or is this the way they're going to go?
Well, when I saw the pairings, the first thing I thought is it's very interesting to me that they decided to change the D pairings and not the forward lines. So if he doesn't change the forward lines, that means he likes what he sees from those guys. What's going on?
He's blaming
up there, right?
the D. He is blaming the D.
Blaming or thinking that they need to be tweaked. And it's, to me, that was my first thought when I saw him. Then I started thinking about the pairings. With Ekholm, I think it's an opportunity maybe for him to not play quite the same amount of minutes beside a guy who's playing a ton. I think that Darnell right now is more mobile than Ekholm. I think he covers more ground and he's able to. He's just a different look than Ekholm in that way, right? I think Ekholm is very cerebral. Darnell is very physical, and he covers a lot of ground. I think maybe they want that look beside Bouchard. And then Kulak and Wallman, Wallman's playing really well. I think Kulak as well. They both move around, skate well. I think it's fine. And then I think they put the two older guys together, guys that understand they can play with each other. Obviously, they're both veteran guys and will complement each other well. And that'll be a very stabilizing force, but maybe not quite the same minutes as he's getting. He being Ekholm would be at the top line, Brownie, would beside
the only thing that gives you a little pause. The reason they're changing them is because the Florida Panthers forecheck was so aggressive and became so much more disruptive in game 2. The one thing that you would want when you have no time and space is a complete understanding of what your partner is going to do at all times and where your partner is going to be. So you want consistency. So when you've got someone coming down at 100 miles an hour and you got no time to think, you want to be able to put the puck to where you know your partner's already at. And that usually is from playing with that same person over and over and over again. You read each other very well. So that's the only hiccup that you would have when you put all these new partnerships together is you're doing it against a team that gives you no time and no space. That's incredibly physical. So all of a sudden you've got to have trust in somebody that you haven't played with a whole lot. And you're just, maybe there's a feeling. Having said all of that, these are all veterans and pros and they know what they're doing, but that's just the one thing. There's no hesitation allowed when you play against a Florida Panther forecheck. So
Nurse and Bouchard have played together a fair amount in these playoffs. I've got them so they're just 207 in the series, but before Matthias Ekholm was back, these two had to play together quite a bit, and they were at 56% of the shot attempt share in over 90 minutes played together. Wallman and Kulak have played 348 together so far in this series, been outscored 1-0. 17 and a half minutes they've played together in the playoffs, have 66% of the shot attempt share. So, the flow of play has been good there. This Ekholm and Klingberg one is interesting though. They played a grand total of 17 minutes together all season. So these it's not like they're falling back on two of these three pairings here. Like Wallman and Kulak played 11 minutes together, 12 minutes together during the regular season. Strud. So it's not like they're falling back to familiar pairings. There's some new stuff here.
There is, but a lot of that is because of injuries and because of the recency of the trade. When you think about it, Klingberg, he really didn't play as an Oiler after Wallman came, right? And then you had Ekholm out for a long time when Wallman came. It's been really hit and miss. So I don't think it was necessary. You can't really say that's because they weren't put together. It's just that they weren't that many opportunities to put them together in the regular season.
Yeah, and I think that's what Shaugger's saying, though, is he's saying that they're putting guys together that haven't played with each other, whether it was through injury, through whatever. There's no comfortable feeling of going, okay, it's been a while since I played with this guy, but I do have at one point a stretch of time where we've experienced where each other's going to be. Everyone plays differently. Bouchard certainly plays different than Ekholm. Nurse plays different than Kulak. So you have to know where those guys are going to be. So that's just, against some teams, it doesn't really matter because they're not as aggressive forechecking as Florida. Florida's a team you can't have hesitation. And we saw that in game 2 at times where the Oilers, I mean, they were hemmed in their own zone because they couldn't get the puck out. And this is just a tweak that I think was surprising. Now, Knobloch, most of his surprises turn out well for him and the team, but just sitting here watching, you're like, okay, I hope that they find some chemistry early in this game because they are facing the most aggressive forechecking team in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, but I'll say this, guys, being a D-man is different than a forward. With a forward, there's 3 people. As a D, there's just 2. And Ekholm knows how Klingberg plays. Like, he knows how he wants to be. And you've been watching him, and he's like, I would feel really comfortable with John Klingberg because I know what he wants. He wants a puck on a stick. It doesn't necessarily want to be the guy, really heavy and physical. So I'd feel really good about him. And I think Klingberg and he will fit really well. The other 2, Nurse and Bouchard have been on and off before. And then you've got Kulak and Wallman. I think they're both really good skating, puck-moving guys. And I think you're right there, Brian. The communication will be key for those 2 guys because they both like to skate and cover a lot of ground with how they skate, specifically Kulak. So it's different. Being a D-man is different. You should really be able to mix with most guys, knowing pretty well what they want to do because there's only one other guy, not 2.
Todd Gack chimes in and says, Shaugger, sorry to hear you got impeached from your condo board presidency. Is the shirt that bad? Is it really?
No, it's really nice.
No, it's beautiful. I take back
Shaugger and shirt ready for Florida shuffleboard tourney. Did Scotty at divorce completely lead me astray with this thing? I mean, it's a Travis Matthews.
Really good. I see those.
It's green.
Shaugger,
I mean, you
go to
listen to Brownie.
Any club, any private club in Edmonton on a Tuesday morning during Seniors Day, you will see 20 of those.
Do we have? I forget what we gathered for sound. Zuby, do we have anything for sound on the D pairs? We don't, right? We have it on the forecheck.
We do have the pairings, Knobloch on the D pairings.
All right, well, let's get to the Weiss Johnson Soundbox then, shall we? Brought to you by Weiss Johnson Heating and Air Conditioning. Summer weather has arrived, as you all know, and if you don't have an air conditioner yet, well, make sure you give them a call. They're your home comfort specialists. Enjoy a summer with a brand new AC unit specializing in servicing your existing mechanical systems or installing new ones. Visit weiss-johnson.com today. Let the jingle roll. And let's marvel in the beauty of this shirt.
Weiss Johnson, whoa. We're proud to be local and family owned.
That bad boy. I think it's good. Mm-hmm. Here's the head coach on his new D pairings.
Yeah, we're always making adjustments to, counter what other teams are doing and who's playing well. And, there's some conversations on, what's working well with our lines or our D pairs and just trying to, our lines and D pairs might switch up a little bit, whether that's after the first period or is later on the game, whatever it is. But, fortunately, our players are comfortable with any changes that we do make just because of how much we've fluctuated our pairs and lines throughout the season. So, get through games 1 and 2, we had some changes, and throughout the rest of the series, there'll be some more.
All right, Jay Strongside says you do look like Austin Matthews. Couple earrings, and you're good to sign autographs. What does that mean? Is that a forehead shot now? What is happening on the Zuby? What's with all the aggression on this stream for the host?
That one I don't get. I don't know if there was some precursor to that particular comment. I don't know if he was saying you're very your Wi-Fi is a little fuzzy right now, so I don't know if I don't know how anyone's comparing you to Austin Matthews right now. Anyway,
but my audio is okay though.
Yeah, it's fine.
Clean there?
You can turn the video off, Shaugger, honestly.
You donkey. Well played, sir. You're real funny tonight, Struds. You know who else was funny today, guys? You know who was in a jovial mood? Leon Draisaitl was in a jovial mood today.
Nice.
So when we last saw Leon, he was like hunkered over in his stall. We walked into the locker room and he was just like this. He was just sitting in his stall like this, waiting. And then he did his media availability, and I mean, he was short and to the point. He was obviously very, very disappointed. It was a tough loss, emotional for them. Definitely sensed a lot of frustration in that room. But it's the Stanley Cup final, and you have to stow that energy. And so a couple of days later, he and McDavid come strolling out onto the podium together, jovial as can be, and a much different Leon Draisaitl, who actually cracked the whole room up not once, but twice. Zuby, do we have Leon in his funnies today?
Yeah, which one do you want first?
Oh, I don't know. Let's go the one on Boosh.
Okay. And this is including the question here, so you hear the setup as well.
Next question for Leon. Connor was talking about the progress of Evan Bouchard defensively, but are you impressed with the way he can stay calm and poised every night? And it seems to me like when the stage is higher, he's always clutch.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes maybe a little too relaxed. That's our joke, at least within the room. But no, I mean, he's as elite as it gets. He just knows his composure is just incredible. He's so calm with the puck. I think he instills a lot of calmness around our room when the puck is on his stick, and obviously there's a lot of trust in him. So it's just a great player.
So if for all the fans out there that are wondering, because Bouchard just looks like he just doesn't even have the pulse out there. Yeah, his teammates notice it too, and they get on him too for it, as Leon Draisaitl said. And then another good moment, Zuby, where a reporter was asking Connor McDavid about, what would you tell kids about how to make a move like you made? And Connor was really struggling to find an answer, and it almost got a little awkward, and then Leon jumped in.
All right, we got the question here on this one too.
Connor, I know you don't like talking about yourself, but I want to ask about the assist to Leon last game. Like, I know that's a product of talent and years of skill work, but if there's a kid out there who's like, how did he do that? Like, what would you say to him?
How do you develop that? Yeah, I mean, it's as you said, a lot goes into that. As you said, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that.
You can't learn that. Let me answer it for you. It's just you don't. I'll answer it for him.
Yeah, Connor doing his best there, but the guy doesn't love talking about himself. But bottom line here, Brownie, like you gotta stow the losses. You gotta have fun, and it was a very different tone from Draisaitl. Those guys were put center stage, both of them together on the podium together, as the series shifts here to Florida, and I like the tone that they set today with their media.
Well, they're in the Stanley Cup Finals. They're 3 wins away from winning the ultimate prize. And you go a year ago from today, they're a lot further ahead than they were last year. So they should be happy. They were down 3-0 last year. It's 1-1. You have to enjoy this moment. Both of them have waited for this moment their entire hockey career to have a chance to win a Stanley Cup, and they're 3 wins away. They are a confident group. They're a very talented group. Of course, you're going to enjoy this and take that enjoyment into the game with hard work and focus and find a way to win a hockey game. So there's no reason to beat yourself up about a game that didn't go your way. Each of those players has been through a lot of games in their career that didn't go the right way, and they parked it, got past it, and they found a way to make it better the next night. So yeah, I can see why they're happy. They're 3 wins away from a Stanley Cup, Struds.
Yeah, almost 100 games each, right, in the playoffs. So you've seen a lot. You've seen a lot of action in that time. I think they're comfortable with where their game's at. And I think, again, I just kind of went back and listened to some of the audio from the other night. And I don't think that they were frustrated they lost. I think they're frustrated they didn't win. I think that they felt they had chances to win. It wasn't their best guys, but I think they had, it was there for them to win. It wasn't like Florida Florida was good, but there was chance to win and get a strangle. And I think that's where the frustration came from, guys.
Yeah, it was a big missed opportunity for them. This series is so tight. I mean, that's what all of us media are talking about, chit-chatting back and forth at practices and such. Like, it's crazy how tight this thing is. And you look at some of the, expected goals for and against and all that, just like all the metrics just show how really tight this thing is. 2 overtime games, we're seeing that as well. Want to talk about the Florida forecheck, some adjustments the Oilers can make. We're going to hear from Chris Knobloch on that as well. We'll push that to our core adjustments segment. Teeing up the rest of the pod here. We're going to have Mark Masters. I had a chat with him today. Mark was over covering the Florida Panthers end of things today, and an optional skate for them. And I run through with Mark kind of what we saw from their practice and some of the things that were said out of Florida's camp today. So we'll get to that in a few minutes. Also had to talk a little bit of Leaf stuff with him, some Marner questions and some Leafs questions and such. So we went off on a tangent a little bit about the Leafs, but you have to when you have Masters Nation sitting right there with you. You got to ask them about the Leafs. That was our breakdown brought to you by the Alberta Ram Dealers. So let's get to our relentless player of the day, and that is brought to you by You Can Use Services, an Edmonton charity relentless in providing possibility for the youth in our community. Mental health, the foundation for growth and success. It's the key to thriving, not just surviving. They have 2 in-house counselors that provide free therapy for their youth to support them while they navigate their struggles, rediscover their strength. Just one of the many reasons why You Can Use Services is such an amazing organization putting that focus on mental health. Visit youcan.ca. You can donate today. Got Your Back is a proud monthly donor. Please do so if you can as well. Strud's an off day. Lots else going on, buddy. What do you have for relentless player today, my friend?
So I was at a hockey tournament with my one of my sons this weekend, and I found out that just Steve was going to be there as well. So I'm awarding this one to myself. I was relentless in looking for just Steve, and today I found him, and I yelled out, "Just Steve!" When he turns around and looks, big smile on his face. We're both happy. Now I was surprised. We hugged it out. I don't normally hug it out. I don't think I've ever hugged any one of you guys. When I see Zuby, I do hug it out. And just Steve and I hugged it out, and it was a warm embrace. We kind of embraced it. Feels good. Both of us were happy. So both just Steve and I were very happy. Very
no
happy
chance. He came in for the hug, and you obliged. You did not go in for the hug, Struds.
No. That's right. He made the first move, right? He couldn't help himself. I was wearing the right kind of jeans, but we did hug it out, and it was great to see just Steve. So I hugged him for all of us, for all 3 of us, all 4 of us, I guess. So yeah, I saw Justin. He looks great. I saw him on the bench. Good coach. So yeah, it was good. Good to see the big guy.
Oh, you a hugger, Brownie?
Yeah, I'm a hugger. Yeah, huge. All our buddies, we hug every time we see each other. We see each other a lot. And every time we walk into a pub, we all hug each other. So yeah, huge huggers.
I'm a big hugger too.
But I'm not giving it seriously. On a night that SGA scores 34 for the Oklahoma City Thunder, you don't give the Canadian MVP, the relentless player. You give it to yourself.
The first game?
Pardon me?
Yourself?
He missed an important shot like 5 seconds.
That was game one. That was game 1.
I know.
This is game 2.
He
was relentless today.
You don't know how hard Struddy looked for how many rinks were there, Struds? How many different rinks did this tournament take
I was
place
at one rink, but there was 2 ice sheets there. And so I was always going to look at both, looking for him on the bench.
So you're so proud of yourself for seeking him out and finding him. If you really wanted to see him that bad, you could have fired him a text. We got a giant chat group. You could have been like, "Hey, Steve, where are you at? Let's grab a coffee. I got a few minutes to spare." No, you just sort of looked around and thought a few times, "I wonder if Steve's here." And you saw him once and are now patting yourself on the back. You could have just sent him a text and reconnected. If he's a guy you're going to hug when you see, you should have been texting.
How often do I text you 2 dingle nuts in Edmonton? Let's go for coffee. Never. Why would I start now?
Yeah, that's true. I have to say, I've hugged you before, Struds. I don't love hugging you. I don't like hugging guys that are taller and like more barrel chested. It feels weird hugging a guy that is significantly taller than you. Brownie, you must go through that all the time.
Well, yeah. Actually, all my buddies are barrel chested and barrel bellied. So I don't get my arms around most of my buddies, but we still hug it out.
I don't know, Struds. I don't know. Have you ever hugged anyone bigger than you, Struds? Like you're a pretty big guy. I don't know. I didn't love it.
Sure have. I'll look for it. I'll look for a big man to hug. I'll put a note on Facebook.
Oversharing tonight. This is an oversharing night from Shaugger in Fort Lauderdale. Okay, that was our what was that? That was our relentless player. Oh, we'll do our poll. Hey Zuby, you got something fun for the poll tonight? What do we got tonight?
Oh yeah, we got a good poll going tonight.
All right, let's go to the DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll. DeBoer's Golf Shop, where there's all kinds of super nice shirts. Whatever your tastes, DeBoer's can help you out. Whether it be something casual and fun, light and easy, nice and breezy, or if you prefer a floral design across the chest, DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center has something for all ages. Golf fans of all ages, whatever you like. DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center. Thanks, Scotty. I love this shirt and I love your store. What do you got, Zuby?
Well, this is funny because this was not planned. This was in no way related to your shirt and Florida and senior moments or anything like that. But this was just something I saw on the old internet the other day, and I was thinking about it. Someone talking about putting the closed captioning on and how once it's on, you get used to it and you never turn it off. And what a slap in the face that is to the directors and people who have created these beautiful images for you to tell a story, and then you're just reading the closed captioning. So anyway, with that in mind, the question for tonight is, which of these supposed senior traits or behaviors can you most relate to as you get older? The first choice is leaving the closed captioning on. The second choice is forgetting why you walked into a room. The third choice is large phone font / reader glasses. And the fourth choice, and this came from a friend of mine, and he must have told me this. I don't even know if he was 40 yet. The fourth choice is owning a daily pill organizer, and trying to sell that like it's not something old people do. Like you really need it for your daily organization. Right. So those are the four choices on the poll tonight.
I am all of the above. I got all four of those.
You got the pill organizer?
I got the pill organizer. Closed captions is on every single show that we watched. My font is humongous. It's funny. I had a grade 4 kid in academy a couple of years ago. You know, Coach Brownie, you can never have a girlfriend, right? I'm like, okay, first of all, why are you saying that to me? And I don't understand why did you say it? Well, look at the size of your font. Your wife could see everything that you write your girlfriend. I'm like, okay, seriously, who told you that? But then I made my font smaller. But no, yeah, all those are the same. I've got every single old person things, 100%.
I've seen Brownie's phone. It's like 2 words on the screen.
If he turns it this way.
It's incredible. It is so big. It feels like we're playing that game where you have to like guess the word. And you put it up on your head.
Headbands. The game's headbands. And I do it on my phone, yes.
Is he kidding me? You can see it from the Space Science Center on Rivers.
SWTTNG. I don't know what that handle is. Swatting. I've always watched TV. Swatting. I've always watched TV with CC since I was young because people never keep quiet enough to hear anything in my house. Yeah, sometimes it's functional. You can't always hide away with a TV and be nice and quiet. I have the pill thing. I do. It's not currently in use, but I probably need to fire it up again though because I'm now on a medication. It's a daily tablet to help reduce the gout flare-ups. So I'm on a daily gout medication. So you combine that with a couple others. I probably need to. I have the pill thing. I probably got to get it back in use now, Struds.
Yeah, I listen. You're sharing a lot tonight. I don't know where like this is starting and ending. Like, how many drinks do you have at supper? Because are you going to tell us your PIN number for your debit card too? I honestly, it's almost awkward. Like, it's not even fun. You're just opening up so many chances to kick in the nuts. I'm like, is he punking us or what's going on here? So thank you for sharing is all I'll say.
Yeah, you're welcome. Jay Strongside says, a blue pill, you mean? No, Jay Strongside, did not mean that. Thank you. Thank you for that contribution.
And that's, by the way, apparently that's Sweet Thing. I guess it was the lack of an H in there.
Oh, Sweet Thing. Okay, yeah.
Maybe that's his or her license plate, vanity license plate, Sweet Thing.
We have a long-time senior on this pod with us, and so starting over at 61 gets the last word of this segment. My pill organizer is the only reason I know what day of the week it is. Starting over at 61, one of our absolute favorites. All right, great poll, Zuby. We'll have some fun with that. Struds and Zuby, we'll get to the results of that beauty of a poll before Ask Us Anything a little bit later on in the show. Okay, a bit of a different order we're going in tonight. So when we come back, we're going to get to our core adjustments segment, talk a little bit more Oilers. We'll do Brownie Points and Struddy's World. Our takeaways segment, I want to save that. That's going to be myself and Mark Masters. So tons of content still ahead here on the show. We're over Sharon from Fort Lauderdale. Why would you leave? Stay with us here on Got Your Back, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Choosing the right health and dental coverage can feel overwhelming, but Alberta Blue Cross is here to make it simple. Their user-friendly website features a free quote tool to guide you through choosing your plan, or you can chat directly with one of their specialists for personalized help. Every plan includes access to personal, nutritional, and financial counseling at no extra cost. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/personal to learn more.
At Gallery Dental, we believe in blending exceptional care with artistry to create the perfect smile for you. From routine cleanings to advanced cosmetic procedures, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch care in a relaxed and comfortable environment. With state-of-the-art technology and a passion for perfection, we ensure that every visit is a positive experience. Join the Gallery Dental family and let us help you achieve a smile that you'll love to show off. Contact us today at secolandentistry.com.
If you're considering a vinyl fence, don't be fooled by cheap marketplace imitations. Get top quality vinyl fence from a trusted company with 20 years in the industry. With locations in Calgary and Edmonton, check out dlrvinylproducts.ca.
All right, time now for our core adjustments, brought to you by HSE Core Services. If you're a small to medium-sized business, HSE Core has your back when it comes to health and safety compliance, from creating and managing a tailored health and safety program that meets all legislation and core requirements. They support their client operations every step of the way. Visit www.hsecore.com. All right, boys, let's get to some adjustments.
You changed your shirt.
I need to keep that one fresh. That's my tomorrow shirt. That's my...
Okay, before we make fun of this one, did you get it at DeBoer's too?
No, you can have at it. You won't piss off any sponsors.
No, that's cute. That's really cute.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Struds, you want to get to the sound right away, because Chris Knobloch was asked today about what to do about that pesky Panthers forecheck. So maybe, Zuby, let's get back to the Weiss Johnson soundbox and we will let him have his say.
Well, I think the first thing they can do is, slow up the forecheck a little bit. When there's a dump in, you can get in, but it all depends on where that dump in happens. If that dump in happens about the red line, forwards are usually in a position to screen or slow that forecheck down a little bit. But if they're able to get to the blue line, it's pretty much impossible to slow that down, and it's almost a line rush opposed to a typical forecheck. So that's one area. But the other one is just collectively, that communication. Most of that communication comes from your partner, your DE partner, but the forwards can also help with that also. So, and then when the puck does get up to the half wall, usually there's pressure there, and now the forwards need to make the right play, and whether that's getting the puck out or maybe find their centerman. But it's not just on the defenseman's hands; it's on the forwards also.
So that first part's really important. Sorry to jump in there, Shaugger, but I heard this today, and to get someone to dump it into red line, he has to feel pressure, probably somewhere, Brownie, between his blue line and the red line. You're not going to have someone dump it in at the red line if they're not feeling pressure. So that to me is the forwards. Well, the D-man has to stand up as well, but that's the forwards. If a forward is getting to the blue line dumping it in, that means he can maybe still be feeling back pressure, but the D-man's doing a good job of standing it up. And in that case, usually what they do is they'll just chip it behind the D, or just so it maybe, let's say it's at the blue line, they chip it to, let's say, the hash marks somewhere in there, so that now the partner has to come get it, or this team has to turn and get it. And that's I hated those because there's so much pressure. But, so part A is on the forwards, and part B happens because, and the forwards can't back check like crazy every time, Brownie, but it's not just on the D-men there for either one of those.
No, and the other thing too, and during a regular season game, they won't allow it, but they have been in the playoffs. You can cheat. You can get your stick in the midsection of the forward on the forecheck. You can grab them a little bit. You can interfere with them. Last game, I'm not going on the refs on anything in this because I thought the games were reffed evenly. But there was one where Ekblad, his D partner was going to pick a puck up, and Ekblad was what we used to do, where you put the stick right across the midsection. He was skiing behind the guy, and the ref, there was no way they were calling that. So that's one way to slow it down. Until a referee says he's going to call a penalty on that, you've got to cheat and give your defenseman a bit of a chance. And the one thing too, and now I don't know how you correct this, a lot of teams that have goaltenders that play the puck very well do a really good job of keeping the puck away from the goalie. Florida Panthers are letting Stuart Skinner play it. They don't try. They think he will make a mistake. So this is on Stuart Skinner. He's got to be cleaner at all times when he gets the puck. And there have been a couple times in the first two games where he's had the puck and he's put it in a bad area, didn't hear communication, or there wasn't communication and passed it the wrong way, or fumbled it. And anytime, Struds, if you're a D-man and your goalie fumbles the puck, now you don't know where it's going, and that's predictability. When Skinner gets it, it should be going in two different places, one or the other. But if it doesn't in one of those two places, you are at the mercy of the forecheck. So to me, it's also on Stuart Skinner as well to make cleaner plays with the puck to get his defenseman out of trouble.
Yeah. It's everybody there, Shaugger. Sorry to interrupt, but it's everyone. It's like, it's not just on one guy. I will say this though. I think the Oilers forward or D-men can get back a little bit quicker to those pucks, and I know it's hard. And listen, I've done it thousands of times, but the faster you get back to even a half second, guys, gives you a split second more to make that play. And then your buddy has to talk to you. So when you arrive at that puck, you know what you want to make, the play you want to make. So if you get there before the guy, you can make the play. Then the other guy has a half second more. Now you've gained a second and the puck's out of the zone. So I look for the tempo a little bit more of the D-men, especially in that second period, boys.
What do you think? What do you think discipline-wise? Do you think there's something to be said for? I thought there were a couple retaliation penalties that don't need to be taken, and I think that with the margin so tight, I think all the players need to recognize how tight it is. There's going to be some you got to take. There's going to be some flow of play. To me, Brownie, you got to cut out the ones that's like, and I'll point to Bouchard again the other night, a secondary cross check with the ref looking right at you that's just not needed. Stuff in front of the net where they're going to try and peel someone out. Get in there and battle hard. Just don't be the guy that throws the extra aggressive shot. Just dialing some of that part of it back because the margins are so slim here.
Well, it's funny. In my texting group, I'll get a thing. Well, that was a 50-50 call. Like the ref shouldn't have called it. It's 50-50. Well, it's 50-50. I mean, there's a 50% chance he will call it. Don't give the ref the opportunity. Don't put the fate of your team and whether you get a penalty in the hands of a ref. Play smart. Don't be the retaliatory. Like that Bouchard one, they're going to get the second guy. They always do. There's no need for Florida's got a good power play. And right now, the Oilers penalty killing unit has not been great. So don't give the Florida Panthers any extra life. There were some weird penalties last game. The Mikkola penalty I thought was horrendous. Actually, both Mikkola penalties I thought were terrible. I have no idea what they were called. The one he got a roughing call. And then the Bouchard penalty for cross-checking in the far corner. I'm like, there's guys cross-checking 1,000 times harder than that. So those were weird. But don't put yourself in a position where the ref can make the call because he might not have the best angle. He might get a glance of it. And we've seen in 2 games now, the margin of error in a hockey game is 1 goal. So that 1 goal that you give up while you're shorthanded because you took a retaliatory penalty could be the goal that cost you a hockey game.
Yeah. So where was this comment I wanted to get to? Oliver Lawsome Tossum says Bennett slashed Bouchard 10 seconds after a whistle and didn't get a call. But that's the point, Oliver Lawsome Tossum, is you can't put yourself in position with the refs. Even if you think, well, there was this one that didn't get called or that one that didn't get called, or you can't ride that line. You got to just make sure. So play hard, give it if you're getting it back, but just don't be the one that steps over the line in that minute in an obvious fashion. And I think the Oilers have a few times they've gotten away from that a little bit. So for me, that's dialing that one in. Any other adjustments, Struds? Anything else?
No, just to finish off your idea on the penalties, like it is hard but you have to turn the other cheek. And I find if you're usually the person who initiates anything, that the chance you get a penalty are a lot less than a guy who's retaliating. So you really got to be careful in that moment. So anything that's, after something that's happened to you, you got to just turn the other cheek. Now it's different when you're two guys are grabbing each other and wrestling around, like whatever, but it's a really hard thing to do because you're like, I'll just get it. I won't get called. And those ones do get called.
100%. That was Core Adjustments, brought to you by HSE Core Services. What do you figure, Brownie? Time for you want to do some brownie points now, or what do you got?
Well, I'm just wondering what you're doing right
What
now.
are you doing now?
Like aloe vera?
Voltaren?
This is just...
No, it's 8535. It's like a heat rub. I've been having some issues in this joint right here. And so it's just...
You
it's
do
like
know that we
3 or 4
actually
times
have breaks
daily.
on this show where our pictures aren't on there, where you
we're
can
not
touch
gonna
yourself
get
at
to
other
it, yeah.
times.
Well, it's not time for one, and it was throbbing, so I just thrown on a little 8535 there. Roll the music, Zuby. Time for Brownie Points, brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. You're craving bold flavor and unbeatable quality jerky made with prime Alberta beef that is made and sold right there in Canada. Look no further. Their June special has arrived. $97.29. Notice the numbers? See what they did there? $97.29 for 3 pounds of jerky, and as always, free shipping Alberta-wide. Visit albertajerky.com for more. Brownie.
All right, I'm going to start out with minus 66 brownie points to ex-Dallas Stars coach Pete DeBoers, who was fired this week after the Dallas Stars fell to the Oilers in the conference finals. DeBoers didn't win any fans in his dressing room when he embarrassed his goalie when he yanked him in Game 5 of the playoffs. Jake Ottinger just signed an 8-year, $66 million contract. It was pretty simple which one of those two is going to be gone. I've got 77 brownie points to the 2 oldest players in these Stanley Cup finals. The 2 biggest goals scored in Game 2 were by 40-year-old Corey Perry and then 37-year-old Brad Marchand, proving that age in these Stanley Cup playoffs is just a number. I got 93 brownie points. I'm sending 93 brownie points to the Nuge, hoping that these brownie points will have a curing effect on whatever is ailing the Oilers star and helps him become a game-time participant and not just a game-time decision. I got 27 brownie points to the wonderful day I had sitting at the patio on the commercial hotel, listening to Leo Martinez with my mom, Dale, and my brother, Scotty, while drinking a Bahama Mama. It was a fantastic Sunday. Wish you guys could have joined me. And finally, I got 3 brownie points to Grammy Award-winning singer Chappelle Roan, with the hope that the Edmonton Oilers get to play her song, Pink Pony Club, 3 more times in the next 12 days. And those, my friends, are today's brownie points.
All right. I love how often you have in your brownie points stories of you hanging with your family, watching sports, relaxing, and enjoying some beverages, Brownie. You love the family time, buddy.
I do. Me and my mom hang. We love hanging out together. I go to my mom's house like 5 times a week for lunch, or I stop by in the morning for a muffin because she makes muffins every day for me. Last night, my brother's in town. He sent a picture of dessert they had. My wife and I are watching a movie. We pushed pause. They went upstairs, drove to my mom's house to get the blueberry pie that she made. So, yeah, me and mom were hanging. Today we were sitting listening to some music on the commercial hotel out on the patio. Gorgeous day. I enjoy my family time, and I enjoy having a drink with my mom.
Did you guys, as loving sons and, with lots of respect for your mothers, did you guys cringe a little like I did the other day when Marchand said what he said about his mom post-game? Did you guys catch that?
I kind of liked it. I like that. It means they have a good relationship.
Yeah, no, it was funny. It was funny. Yeah, 100%. And I'm not saying that they don't. I'm sure they have a good relationship. But he was asked, his mom, what kind of hockey mom was your mom? And he goes, the kind that needed to be muzzled.
Yeah.
As soon as he said it, I was like, oh, my mom would have me by the ear, just like, oh. But anyways, I'm sure they have a great relationship. I'm not taking a shot at that, but it was just, as we're talking about our moms, Donna is a faithful listener. Zuby, I know your mom is a faithful listener as well. Either of your guys' moms or folks listen to the show ever, Brownie?
Yeah, my mother listens all the time. Her husband Dale listens. They send me texts talking about the stuff that they think is funny. I'm sure I'm going to hear tomorrow about your golf shirt, Shaugger. I'm sure they will have their opinion.
Do they ever ask you why you're so hard on me and never agree with me? Is that ever a topic that comes up?
Oh no, they completely understand.
All right. All right, well played. That was Brownie Points, brought to you by Hammel's Premium Jerky. Okay, Struddy, time for you to step into the spotlight. Take a minute and gather yourself here while Zuby rolls the cartoon.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy.
Gotta look good.
Yes, it is time for Struddy's World, brought to you by Timberhouse Developments. Need a little extra space for the in-laws? They're garden suites, perfect for keeping them close, but not too close. They have unique designs that are anything but cookie cutter, and the experience of building with Timberhouse is second to none. They'll treat you like family, build you a great house or garden suite, and they will take care of you for years to come with great customer service. Visit timberhouse.ca. Jason?
I love the hockey tournaments, the kids' hockey tournaments. You get away and, you're with the team, and this is our last tournament of this team. And so we all go for dinner. The kids are in one room or in another. And, I know the parents, we're not like best friends, but I really enjoy their company and stuff. So I'm looking at the drink menu and I'm like, God, this drink sounds good as sangria. But do I dare order that? I kind of have a street rep as a bit of a Tony Toughnuts. So I'm like, I'll just sneak the order in. So there's like 20 people around this table and everyone's talking stuff. The lady bends over to take my order and it gets deathly quiet. I'm like, I'll have a sangria. And like everyone's head just turned down. I'm like, oh my God, why did everyone have to quiet down? So I feel like I lost my street cred in that moment. But you know what, guys, I think at the end of the day, you kind of got to do what feels right. Now, this bad boy had 5 ounces, so I got a little loose lipped. I like to do that after a couple drinks. I didn't have to drive at all. I just walked back to my room. But, in that moment, you don't want everyone to hear what you say or do. It was like the right moment. It's like the music shut down. And I walked in with a flowery print golf shirt. And I was like, sangria, please. But it was a delicious drink, guys. It was so, so good. But I lost some street cred last night.
Oh, no. Sangria is what the cool kids are drinking. I love sangria. Yeah, on a nice, hot, sunny day, sangria outside. That's fantastic. Although there have been places my wife and I went to, I think it was Bermuda once, and she was a beer drinker, and they had this like really girly drink. So I made her order the girly drink, and I ordered the beer. And after the waiter left, we switched so that I looked cool when he put it down, and then I had the little umbrella and the fruit and stuff in it. But yeah, I was drinking Bahama Mamas today. On a patio, so I'm not afraid. You know what? I'm comfortable now in my skin, Struds, that I can say it loud and proud that I drink drinks that may not be as masculine as the world expects me to drink.
Yeah, Struds, and I think you're a little bit off base. I think anybody who's met you for more than 3 or 4 minutes, the Tony Toughnuts thing melts away pretty quickly. You don't like. Maybe the appearance, perhaps, or the people are looking at your hockey DB page, but there's a pretty soft underbelly there. I don't think anybody's expecting the most masculine of traits from you after meeting you for a few minutes. And I'm not one to speak. I mean, you're talking to a guy that I basically order cranberry with every order, with every drink I order. There's cranberry involved, and the number of bladder infection, from bartenders and such I've gotten over the years. But you just got to lean into that stuff, man.
I appreciate you sticking up for me, but please don't put us in the same category.
No, we're just saying. I'm with you. I feel you on this entirely, buddy. Like we're kindred spirits in this way. right?
We are not
People look at
invincible.
us and
We
they
are
think,
not.
wow, those must be very masculine, tough alpha males. When they look at you and me, that's what they think.
You
But
know,
we're
seriously,
not both
Shaugger,
like that.
turn your video off when you're giving this conversation. Turn your video off, please.
Do you have one more shirt in there? Do you have a third choice?
Yeah.
I
Go
do
no
actually,
shirt.
although I don't have time to change it because I'm done. I'm done for the night. I'm getting
Put
out
the
of here.
pillbox up instead.
They just don't present properly over Wi-Fi. It's because I'm telling you, these are winners. I actually got complimented on that green shirt the other day.
At a
By
4
who?
o'clock meal at Denny's?
Yeah. Yeah. How fast was
Struddy's
the
roll.
walker?
Struddy's roll. Brought to you by Timber House Developments. Okay, Brownie, you get to go. We're both going. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
When we
Bye,
come back,
Jason.
see you, Brownie. All right, see you, pal. Okay, when we come back, I had a chance to catch up with Mark Masters. So, Struddy, you're going to tee that up. And then you and Zuby are going to land the plane together tonight. You've got Take a Lap, Ask Us Anything, as well as our play of the day. So still lots to come. I will just simply say you're welcome for the first half of this show, Struds, and hand it off to you now, bud.
Good luck, buddy. Have a good day. I don't even know what to say. Let's go to break and we'll try to regroup and get this thing on track for the second half, Zuby. We'll be right back.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
For over 60 years, Belvedere Golf and Country Club has delivered a high-quality membership experience to Edmonton and area. And now it's even better. Drainage and irrigation improvements in 2024 have taken course conditions to a new level. This commitment to long-term sustainability means exceptional playing conditions all season long. Belvedere's tee sheet availability is unmatched, so join now and experience golf the way it was meant to be played, on your schedule. Visit belvederegcc.com today.
Broke it. So it's kind of cool. Nothing really crazy, buddy. Nothing yet. It'll just be more chatty.
Okay. Sorry, we're back here.
Oh, cool. All right, let's jump into the world of takeaways, brought to you by Martin Motorsports. Score big during the playoffs with a new ride from Martin Motorsports. Whether you're looking for a commuter bike or something dual purpose to use on and off road, the new line of two-wheel electric motorcycles from Can-Am will fulfill your needs. Enhance your ride by going electric. You will still hear and feel the roar of the engine with no oil change required. Visit Martin Motorsports on the south or west side of Edmonton to view the lineup and arrange a demo today and talk orders. These guys are watching the games closely. Let's hear now Ryan Rashog in conversation with Mark Masters about the Florida Panthers side of things, because Masters from TSN was covering that. Let's hear it now.
All right, Mark, sitting here in a very fancy lobby at the Dalmar Hotel in Fort Lauderdale. A bit of a divide and conquer day today. I was on oil. You were on Panthers. What would the headline be coming out of what you saw, witnessed, heard at Panthers skate today? By the way, they skated in separate locations, so we couldn't both be in the same place.
Yeah, it was tricky on that front today. It was I'm not sure if there was like a big headline for the Panthers today. AJ Greer skated again. We'll see if he's able to play in Game 3. Brad Marchand was very good in poker on the flight home.
Oh, yeah.
That's a storyline I've been really engaged
Poker
in.
update, yeah. You dig in on the intense stuff, eh?
Yeah, I was really curious about that. Although he did say he was up a tremendous amount, and then Aaron Ekblad won most of it back on the last hand. Apparently Ekblad he thought was bluffing. Ekblad not bluffing. Right. So that was a big story in my mind. You know what? Probably the thing that caught my ear is Sam Reinhart talking about the state of his game. How, I asked him about his Lions play. They haven't got on the board. They've been scored against a couple of times for a couple of Selke Trophy nominees that stood out. That's, Florida's top line. They're 1-1 in this series, but they really haven't had their moment, whereas Edmonton Stars have been very, very noticeable. And he just said, listen, the guys we're facing are some of the toughest tests in hockey. And yes, we'd like to be on the board a bit more, but they're not losing sleep over it. And he mentioned Florida's depth is a big factor, that they have faith in that. In terms of the breakaway and overtime, he said, listen, not my first mistake, won't be my last. So you just knew it was going to be a bounce one way or the other. And certainly, Marchand's breakaway was tougher, right? He was being hounded by Leon Draisaitl. I'm still not 100% sure how it went in. But anyway, I was just curious because I want to know where Reinhart's at. He didn't skate today. There's questions about his health. He missed a game in the Eastern Conference Final. He says he's not losing sleep over it. I got to feel at some point, maybe it's going to come in this Game 3, Florida's top guys are going to be heard from.
Well, it's 1-1 here, and their top guys haven't meaningfully checked into the series yet. So it'll be interesting to see if that happens. And how much that swings it if it does. It's been interesting watching the Panthers kind of pace themselves, Mark, like their third Stanley Cup final. Their core group, most of them were at the Four Nations this year. So these guys have played a ton of hockey. And where the Oilers are taking a day off between games and then generally getting at least one full team skate in, the Panthers aren't. Like, very seldom do they have full skates. So they kind of seem to be prioritizing rest over whatever you might be able to accomplish at a full team skate at this time of year.
Yeah, I mean, they've talked about this. It's all not just they've played a lot, it's their style of play. It's very demanding, very physical, in your face, hard to, we've seen like they kind of faded it. I don't know if faded, but they weren't going full bore down the stretch in the regular season. They were like, okay, we're not too worried about winning the division. We're going to just, make sure we rest guys, make sure that we're healthy as possible. And again, obviously we're expecting it's going to be an optional skate for them, even though they had an optional practice today. A lot of guys were on the ice today. Paul Maurice was on the ice. He says, I believe the over-under for him is 12. If there's 12 guys on the ice, he goes out there. That's his thing, to be part of it, just to soak it up. So he was out there today. Brad Marchand was out there today, of course, because he always skates. He's such a throwback. What I've noticed about the Panthers, and obviously I usually cover the Leafs, that's my usual beat. The Panthers beat the Leafs in 2023. They beat them again this year, is that they seem to have developed this kind of swagger and belief, right, that champions have, that whatever happens, they're going to be okay. They don't need to skate. They don't need to, go hard in a full practice, but they just feel like whatever the scenario, they're going to figure it out just because they've had so much success in the playoffs the last couple of years.
Yeah, and the other thing I noticed, too, is I don't know if it's different this year, but they're not afraid to be quite complimentary to the Edmonton Oilers. Like Matthew Tkachuk, before the series started, in some interviews, was very complimentary towards the Oilers. Aaron Ekblad, who was on the tough end of an amazing McDavid play last game, had some comments today as well, very complimentary. Like, they're confident enough, they don't mind propping up the Oilers and some of their stars.
Oh, yeah. They were propping up the Leafs, too, though, to be fair. Matthew Tkachuk going into the Leafs series said, we're the underdogs. We're starting on the road. I don't know if he believed that. I mean, I guess they were the lower seed starting on the road. That was true. So they are that way, and they are comfortable. That goes into the whole the belief is like they know that this team is good, is amazing on the other side. And you mentioned Ekblad. He described McDavid's assist on the power play, in which he ended up on the ice looking bewildered, as a walk-on water toe drag, and then he referred to McDavid as McJesus. Yeah. So yeah, he is not holding back in terms of his praise. And I mentioned what Reinhart said in terms of the big one, in terms of his line is like, listen, we're facing some of the biggest tests in hockey. So yeah, they're very comfortable. Like, they know they're in for it. They know how, it's so tight. A big talking point on both sides of the series today was just the quality of this series, how tight it is. Florida's very comfortable in those games. It seems like Edmonton is too, to be fair.
I wanted to ask your observations on McDavid and Draisaitl in particular, the way they're handling the spotlight. So you cover Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, Tavares and company in the center of the universe there, and you kind of see the way they handled themselves, the way they go about it. Would you maybe compare the two a little bit in what you see in terms of just the way they handle the media, handle those responsibilities? Do you notice differences? I just want your perspective, because you've been up close with those other guys that get so much attention in Toronto.
Yeah, it's hard to compare. It's just because the storylines are so different. You're shaped by your past to a degree, even as much as the Leafs stars try and tune that out and say every year's a new year. It's like the pressure starts so quickly in a series for them just because of the history. So if they have a bad game, it feels like more that, whereas if, the Oilers stars and McDavid and Draisaitl, they have historically produced in the playoffs. And there's a lot of pressure for them to continue to do so, but there's a belief that if they do hit a rough patch, that they'll be fine just because they've had the success and they've been able to do it. And they've gone on these deep runs, whereas the Leaf Stars have only had the 2 series wins, and they've struggled to produce, especially in the key moments. So it's hard for me to compare. I just, struck that they seem very relaxed today, Draisaitl and McDavid, and Draisaitl making the jokes.
He was being funny, Leon, today.
He was hilarious. That was amazing. That was awesome. That moment where McDavid is asked, what would you tell a kid who was wondering how the heck you pulled off that walk-on-water toe drag? And he was trying. He's like, what would I tell a kid? A lot goes into it. And he was really struggling. He's like, how do I tell you? They're like, how do I answer this? Because it was such an amazing play. And then Leon's like, you can't learn that.
You can't learn that.
He's like, So
are Matthews and, are there funny moments ever, or is it a little more tense? And I guess that's results-based too, right?
It is results-based. It is. It's probably more tense, I would say. And they do have relaxed moments. I'm trying to think of if they've even ever been at the podium together in a playoff. I'm sure it's happened, but I know Matthews was beside Simon Benoit. That was a weird moment after Benoit scored in overtime in Game 3. You had the greatest goal scorer and a guy who never scored sitting beside you. I'm trying to think. And Marner was at the podium after.
I think as time goes on, and maybe they start to if they start to accomplish a little bit more, maybe that's where it eases up, right? I feel like McDavid and Draisaitl would be pretty tense day to day if the narratives were somewhat similar to what the Leafs are dealing with right now. So I can't have Mark Masters on the show without asking you the question, putting you right square on the spot. Is Mitch Marner going to be a Leaf? Where's your head at? If you had to bet your mortgage, which way is Mark Masters going?
Yeah.
No fence sitting.
Yeah. Jake Wellman was asking me that today, too, just off camera. Yeah, he was curious. Everyone wants to know. He was just joking with me. He's like, I watched your, coverage of Leafs. He's a local guy. And so, everyone's wondering that, right? I'm surprised that wasn't the first question today, but I guess.
No, we don't always lead with Leafs.
We are at the Stanley Cup final.
The Oilers are in the Cup final. We're not leading this interview with Leafs. I know that'll be stunning to you.
It is. I was a little thrown off, not going to lie.
Are you avoiding an answer here? You tap dancing
No,
around?
I'm not
or
tapping.
what are we doing here?
I'll tell you what I told Jake today. It seems like he's on his way out, doesn't it? Just because, all his comments, he's been asked point blank, do you want to be a Leaf? And he doesn't give a straight answer. He just says, he talks about the past and how much it's meant to him to be a Leaf and to play for his hometown team. And you can tell more than the words, you can just tell by the actions. Leafs have wanted to sign him to an extension. They've been eager to try and get this done, but his camp is not engaged during the season. And it got to the point where the Leafs even approached him, as our TSN hockey insider Chris Johnston broke at the trade deadline, to ask him if he would be open to moving to Carolina, because Rantanen was available and they couldn't get him signed. We don't know what's going on, and that I'm sure wasn't great for the relationship, for the long-term, goals of the Leafs to sign him. But all indications are that he's gone. And I just will say, I'm a Toronto guy, born and raised, grew up a Leafs fan, and it's sad that a guy who was like that and who was a Leafs fan, living his dream all these years and having so much success in the regular season, a 100-point guy, doesn't happen, right? Is the first winger in franchise history to score 100 points in a season. And for whatever reason, he was part of it, but they never got it done really on the playoffs in terms of going on a long run. And now it looks like he's heading out the door, and he's fifth in franchise scoring. He's put together one of the great careers, and it's going to end on such this low moment, and never really, it's going to be an era that's going to be defined, his era at least now, assuming he leaves, of just not living up to the potential in the playoffs. So it's kind of sad for me, because it shouldn't have been this way, and it didn't feel like it was going to be this way when it was first starting out. There was so much hope, and now it feels like we're coming to the end of the Mitch Marner era in Toronto on a pretty down note.
Feel like maybe you were just a little too hard on him. He could, the Masters fastballs coming at his head year after year after year. The Mark Masters heaters.
Me, nothing but all gas, no brakes, but for me. But I see it. It's tough. Everyone talks about it. Brad Marchand in a Tour de Force news conference after winning his 5th Game 7 against the Leafs, 5-0, was the pressure here. And,
I know. What do you make of that?
I don't know. What are we?
It felt like a troll job. This supportive / trolling job.
They do. And then Matthew Tkachuk goes on a podcast and talks about how if they were in a different city, it'd be a different story. And for those guys, I can only imagine what the Panthers are thinking. They're blowing him out for the second time in 2 games in Toronto, right? 6-1, 6-1. Am I covering tennis again? That's how the last 2 home games for Toronto went this season. And fans are throwing jerseys on the ice during play. Yeah. Play's just coming. They were booing Marner at the end of that game when he touched the puck. Beers were getting thrown out. It was nuts. Like, this is at home in the game 7 of the second round. You know, it was the best run of this era, the best run since 2002, and this is how it was ending. It's like, how could have it gotten to this disastrous point? So is it tough? Yeah, it's tough, but it's also amazing, right? Like, I ask some hardballs, not really, but like I ask,
I've heard you.
Yeah,
You dig in. You're not afraid to dig in.
I try and just react to what's happening, right? You just like, why have you not scored if that's the story? You know, I was asking Mitch Marner, well, you went 2 games without a shot on goal in Florida.
How, Mitch? How?
And he's saying, it's not really my game. Like, I'm shooting for sticks and assists. Anyway, so I can understand why it seems tough, and it is tough, but it's also great at times. They've been a great regular season team. I've covered a lot of wins, and a lot of times I'm asking some variation of the question of, why is Mitch so good, or how did you do this, or how did Austin do this? A lot of the coverage is positive. A lot of it is negative. A lot of it come playoff time has been negative. There's just a lot. Yeah. Right? So I can understand why that can build up over time and over years and be a grind. And I can understand why people in other markets look at that, other players, and say, this is, would I want this, or this has to be tough. But there's a lot of love too. There is a lot of love for these guys a lot of the time, because they have done some amazing things. So I see it both ways. I'm definitely part of the problem.
No question. Well, people are going to be pissed we talked about the Leafs for this long. So we'll wrap it up there, Mark. Pleasure as always working with you, and look forward to game day tomorrow. We'll have lots of content on tsn.ca and on SportsCenter as well. Love working with you, pal.
Always love talking Leafs with you, Ryan.
The great Mark Masters.
Let's get into it with Scoreboard now, brought to you by Canadian Club. The all-new Canadian Club Classic 18-year-old high proof comes in at an incredible 58%. The highest proof Canadian Club Classic to date is a full-bodied whiskey with aromas of caramel, toffee, spicy vanilla, and rich oak with a butterscotch finish. All right, the Scoreboard today is going to be Stats Scoreboard. We're going to take a look at the playoff stats. Pretty incredible when you look at these stats boards. So just if you haven't looked at them in a while, Connor McDavid leading with 31 points, followed by his teammate Leon Draisaitl at 29. Then there's a fairly stiff drop-off to Mikko Rantanen at 22, who fell off last round. Evan Bouchard, 21. Sam Bennett in the series at 19. Nuge with 18. And then you go Kyle Connor, 17. Kachuk, 17. Barkov, 17. Verhaeghe, 17. So let's just look at it from both sides. And you can include net minors if you'd like. Zuby, if the Oilers win the Stanley Cup, will it be Connor, Leon, or Bouchard that are the obvious, one of those 3 obvious choices?
Unless there's some seismic shift of something that happens in the remaining games, I'll be very surprised if it's not a repeat for McDavid. I think Stu, there was a great story to be written there about Stu Skinner if he was just lights out. I mean, he's got a chance. We know how good he is in the later part of series. He's Mr. Game 4. Maybe there's a tiny chance there, but if I was betting, it would certainly be on McDavid.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think it'd be McDavid. I think Bouchard might be next after Connor.
I think that's
he's played pretty well. But I think there's a chance for Bouchard to get in there. On the other side, I think it's not quite as clear that it's not going to be a goalie. It's Sam Bennett or Bobrovsky for me when I look at those guys. Verhaeghe, Barkov, obviously talented. Reinhardt's seems hampered by an injury since last series. So I'd probably go Bobrovsky if they win. But I guess that's up to a bit of interpretation with the way Bennett's plowing the goals in.
I feel like I think you got the right 2 guys, but I'd lean towards Bennett because of not even the score sheet, the impact we know that this guy has in so many facets of the game. Now, do you think that maybe you don't know this off the top of your head, who votes on this? The writers?
I believe it's a group of writers, yeah. And they get their vote in there. I think I want to say the last period of a game that looks like it's going to be a win. I think that's it, guys. Don't quote me, but I think I remember hearing that. I don't have a vote, which is probably
that's
shocking for many.
Yeah.
Let's not try to change that tonight. But so I think that's the way it works. So let's say one team is winning and they're up 2-3 goals with, looks like they're up 3-2 in the series. They'd get their votes in. So if I was betting, I'd say McDavid, Bennett, probably would be my 2, right? If it goes, which is ironic because they kind of know each other. So let's see what happens here as they kind of move on. I think there's still some story to be told here, Zuby. I don't think this is done just yet.
Absolutely. And what about the possible, it would really be history for McDavid to win it back to back in a losing effort? What do you think the chances are of that happening again? I feel like they don't want to do it. I feel like they wouldn't want to give it again.
You nailed it. That's what I'm going to go. I don't think that the league would want that. And I think that it would be, I think it'd be a player off of I think no matter what, it'd be a player off Florida if they were to win it. So win the Stanley Cup again, which, tied 1-1 we could. So it'd be interested. Here's a good one coming in. I like this one from, what was it, Nagano Hank 809?
Yeah.
The playoff MVP will decide it based on what happens in the next 3 games, in my opinion. Yeah, and I think you could stretch out to the next 5 games, actually. If Connor goes off, or Leon or Bouchard, and let's say the Oilers win 3 in a row, which seems like a tall task, they'll get it. And same on the other side. Bobrovsky has a great run or whatever. So let's see how this plays out. We'd love to hear from you. We have Ask Us Anything coming up after the break, so shoot those in there. We're going to get to a Trent Frederick question that I saw earlier that I've heard this as well. I think it's really interesting. Let's take a pause. We'll get to take a lap, Ask Us Anything, and play of the day next on the show. Stay with us, guys.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
Join over 250,000 Canadians who have upgraded to Canada's best mattress. Douglas is proudly made in Canada and ships directly to your door for free. Douglas is easy to set up. Enjoy perfectly balanced comfort and an easy-to-clean machine washable cover. Get a free sleep bundle with your Douglas mattress. Try risk-free for 365 nights. Get your Douglas mattress today.
Ready to go all in this season? Mr. Dirk's got you covered with express on-site tailoring, a wide selection of craftsman-made suits, sport coats, and casual staples for every occasion. Score big with Mr. Dirk. We've always got your back. Visit us off White Ave, south of 102nd Street, or browse online at mrdirk.com.
Yeah. Oh, God. Hudson.
Hi.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this off night pod. We'll have a one following game tomorrow night. Let's hope it's not overtime, right? Let's hope we get through a normal 1-2 of overtime games. I'm not sure Oilers fans can take it. Take a lap now, brought to you by Acon. If you're a skilled tradesperson or construction professional looking for work in Western Canada, Acon wants to hear from you. One of Canada's original industrial contractors, they are building some of the largest multi-year industrial projects in Western Canada, and you can be a part of it. They're looking for skilled tradespeople and construction professionals to join the Acon team and start building what matters today. Join Acon now by sending your resume to trades@acon.com. So this story came out yesterday, but it's a great story. Spencer Carberry was named the Coach of the Year, Jack Adams Award winner for the NHL. And I think he's very deserving. What he did with that team and what expectations were wildly different. So congrats to him. But I loved, just like they did with the Bill Masterton Trophy for Sean Monahan, and how they had Johnny Gaudreau's wife surprise him. They had Spencer Carberry's wife and kids surprise him with the news. And I love that. I liked it, the way they're doing it. A little bit different this year. But all that aside, he was well deserving, Zuby, of what he's accomplished. I also had Ryan Huska in that group from the Calgary Flames. I thought he did a really good job navigating that group to where he did. But this was, to me, probably fairly clear cut.
We had Spencer Carberry on the Rain Dregs hockey podcast, and he was, I had certainly not met or talked to him anytime before. And he's just like, this was mid-season, and he's just an excellent human being, such a nice guy, down to earth, and really forthcoming with his answers, and just loose and fun, you can see why he's a guy you'd want to play for sure. I mean, younger guy, but yeah, everything about him to me was positive. Now, Struddy, what does that team need though? You know, Ovechkin's career is coming to an end here. They got bounced pretty handily by Carolina. If that team wants to make one more run, it sounds like might be Ovi's last year next year. What do they need? Because they certainly seem to have the coach.
Yeah, they've got the right coach. You know, they had a lot of good things go from right this year. I'm wondering if all those things can go right for them again. You know, they had a lot of things go right. And I think Tommy Wilson had a career year, Ovi slamming those goals like crazy. So they have to continue to do that. I mean, they made it to the final 8,
yes,
which is pretty amazing. No, I did not. I thought they weren't even going to make the playoffs. You know, so can they take another step forward, keep those young guys going in the right direction, and can Ovi keep it going for one more year? So they're a team to watch this offseason, because how much do you dig in and try to build up around Ovi right now when you still have him, knowing that, you know, the clock is ticking on him?
Yeah, absolutely.
It'll be interesting to see. It's kind of a cool story. So I always like watching, seeing the NHL, NFL combine, then looking at the scores. So the NHL combine was going on, and I was looking through it, and lo and behold, a former teammate, former captain of the Edmonton Oilers, Sean Horkoff's son, William Horkoff, was the leader in the standing broad jump. So really neat. He's a big guy. He plays in Michigan. He stands 6'4", much bigger than his dad, and he jumped a standing broad jump. So that's where you stand on 2 feet and just launch yourself forward as fast as you can and land. He did 124.8 inches. That's a big one. Now, to think about it, the next person behind him was 6 inches less at 118.3. So that's a big gap. So congratulations to William. It sounds like he's going to be, you know, he's projected to be, you know, maybe a late first, somewhere in the second round pick. So that's maybe, you know, good for him. I love seeing my guys I know, and I knew him a little bit when he was younger. So good luck to him. But I looked at the NFL, because those guys are genetic freaks that walk through there. In 2015, Byron Jones did 147 inches. So that's 12 feet 3 inches standing broad jump.
What?
That is absolutely insane. So that was 23 inches more than William Horkoff. And not that I am, you know, saying what William did wasn't good. That's really good what he did. But this is, and at that time, I believe this was a world record. So 2015, 12 feet 3 inches standing broad jump. That is insane. Absolutely insane. Think about how big that is, guys.
The best thing about the NFL Combine is always watching the big linemen do run 40s, and the big hosses really get into it and do stuff that is like so unnecessary for what they do on the field. But Sean Horkoff, he had some tree trunks though, as I recall, right?
Strong. And you know what I loved? I always really respected about him, and I wish I would have played with him when I was younger. He was always searching for something new. What is something new he can do to make himself a better player, a more complete player? And I really, really respected that about him. And like I said, I wish I would have played with him when I was younger, because he opened my eyes to a few ideas, like, you know, lifting heavy weights the day before the game and stuff like that was mind blowing. And he's like, no, that's the way to do it. And I did it, and he was right. So yeah, I'm sure his son has benefited from that. But yeah, pretty cool. So when you just think about how far 124 inches is, can you jump that with 2 feet? Is a absolute monster jump, monster. So good for him.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Okay, that was Take a Lap. Let's move on to Ask Us Anything. This is where you get to get in there, and there's some real little gems in here I want to get into. So Ask Us Anything brought to you by Mortgages by Maria. If your mortgage renewal date is just around the corner or coming up in 2025, don't just roll over and accept the bank's final offer. With the right strategy and timing, you could take advantage of rate drops, saving you thousands and keeping more money in your pocket. Why pay the banks more than you need to? Get expert advice and smarter options. Contact Maria Gallus today at mortgagesbymaria.ca. What do you got for us, Zoops?
Well, do you want to go right to Trent Frederick first? Let's do it. So Trizent pointing out, and I haven't been able to confirm this, but he said that Stauffer floated the idea of Trent Frederick extension 7 years by $3.15 million. Now, I don't know if he's suggesting that's a rumor or he's just saying that was his suggestion, but let's use that as a starting point. 7 years at 3.15. What do you think of that, Struddy?
So I When he was traded here, I was told, or I heard that this was just a pure rental. They were just going to get him. They're going to rent him out, and he would be here, and then he was going to probably go back to St. Louis, where he's from. He's a unrestricted free agent. I was like, okay, great, that makes sense. And then I'm not sure if it was Staffers. I heard with Elliot Friedman. Elliot, let me get the quote right. It said, one of the things that's been rumored around here is that Trent Frederick might be sticking around Edmonton. They're working on a contract extension for Trent Frederick. So that really opened my eyes. And then Staff put the number, Bob, our buddies, Bob, put the number to that, 7 years. So Nick Paul had a similar contract with
Tampa.
So what you do is you kind of figure out the total amount of money he wants, and then you spread it out over X number of years. Trent Frederick hasn't been at his best. I'm telling you, people, high ankle sprain is a pig to play through. I've had 2, and it's like a year to get over it, where you feel really healthy. So I think it'd be unfair to judge what he's been doing now, but he's a good center. He can score goals. He physicals. He can fight. And I think there's more energy to his game than he's even showing now. But I think he's not. I'm not thinking. I know he's not 100%. So if for what they traded up, if they can keep him and sign him to a deal that spreads out like that, I'd be really quite into it. Now the challenge, and I don't want to get too far down this road, Zuby, but what does the team look like even July 15th? Because there's got to be some people that leave. Connor Brown needs a deal. There's that guy 97 that could sign an extension. Skinner can sign an extension. Bouchard can sign an extension. So a lot of things to figure out. But I believe Trent Frederick would be part of the solution, or not a part of it. It's not like they've got a problem, but I would be really working hard to figure out something that works to keep him in Edmonton.
Yeah, you got Brown, Perry, Kapanen, all kind of guys that I'm sure they'd like to try to find a way to get back in the fold on a low dollar figure, but you probably can't do it all.
No, I think isn't Kapanen got 1 more year? Am I wrong?
Oh, maybe he does.
I thought I might. I don't want to jump over top of you. Sorry, he isn't. My bad. I thought he had 1 more year. My bad. He doesn't have another. Colson has another.
Pods
year.
has 1 more year. Yeah.
My bad. Yeah, my bad.
Okay, this is an interesting, and maybe you guys kind of touched on this, but you can tell me if you did. Andrew Lemouche says, what makes the Panthers' aggressive forecheck different than other teams? I won't get into sort of the second part, but that would be my question to you. Is it just the personnel that they have, or what makes theirs different, Struddy?
I think their personnel are really heavy on their sticks and heavy on the walls. So what does that mean? That means when you go back and get a puck, if you're going to make a hard play, they're taking those walls away and sealing it off, and they're winning puck battles off the wall. They look at all their top forwards. They're all Barkov's really strong on his stick. Marchand doesn't lose a lot of puck battles. All those guys, so they're really good, strong, and heavy on their stick, and that's hard to break. Plus they're physical. So, it's funny. The 2 biggest goals that were scored that last game were 2 breakaways from Brad Marchand. So it feels a little bit different than what we're talking about. But the reality was there were long stretches where the forecheck was really good, and then the cycle they had going on as well.
Okay, T. Tomko 11 says, the press conference showed me that they're super loose and happy. No worries. It's no stress. Completely different than last season. I would certainly agree that it's different than what we're seeing from last season, because they never got to have that moment where they could be loose. Even at a tie series in 3-3, you can't be loose. You got Game 7 coming up. But even at this, do you agree that they're different in that way, that this is a better mindset, or is it just what the situation allows?
I think they are a lot different, and I think they've been through it. Experience is so huge. I can every time, and again, I never played in the finals, but every time you play your first NHL game, then play a second game in a road building, you know what it's like. Even something just to know where the rink is, or where the entrance to the arena is. And now you go to fast forward to the Stanley Cup final, you know what the attention is on you, the time for the press, the recovery time, the travel, all that stuff, the family who wants to come and see the games and tickets, all that. You understand it's better, and then you want to enjoy the moment as well. So I did like what I saw from them, and by all counts, a good practice. So obviously, every game's going to be huge in this series. Every game.
Yeah.
Just like Game 2 is massively important for Florida, I think this game is important for the Oilers as well.
Some stranger wants to know what you think of Darnell Nurse's performance so far in this series. He's from on the fan side of things, taking some heat. What have you thought of 25?
I think the D been under a lot of pressure, and it from Florida, and I think it's hard to shine under that type of situation. I'm really interested to watch these new pairings. I do think that they'll be rolled out for Game 3 as they were presented in the practice or this morning. Just Florida knows if you get to a team's D, it just makes it really hard because when you make it hard on the Oilers' defense, they're not allowed to get the puck up to the forwards, and that's where the Oilers want to go. They want to go play fast. They want to get up in the offense and score. So when you play in the Oilers' zone, it really cripples what they're trying to accomplish. And think about, let's just go both those 2 second periods. Not a lot of opportunities for the forwards in those times. So, Darnell Nurse is part of that group, and I think that tomorrow we're going to see a determined, quicker paced playing group of D than we have in games for sure 2 and 1 as well.
And just to clarify, someone asked actually specific or made a comment that they believe the lines today were just a smokescreen, but you don't. You think that's what we're going to see tomorrow?
Yeah, I think you're going to see it. I really do. I think I want to take a look at this and just see what it feels and looks like, because he didn't change the forward lines, and I think that's usually where he goes. Right? He's changed the forward lines so many times. That tells me he's comfortable with what these lines are.
Paulie, in response to someone else named DJ, said, Nurse, Kane, or Freddie need to drop the mitts with Sam Bennett. There was a question that went earlier too, saying DJ Regier saying, what does the team need to do to keep Bennett from injuring Stu Skinner? This was the response to that. Do you agree with that? What's the likelihood of what would have to be the scenario for Bennett to accept a fight, or is that not in his nature? Is he better not fighting?
Mm-hmm. Well, there was a time where I thought I could meet and marry a supermodel, but there is a two-way street. And that's the same thing when you're asking someone to fight. You can ask repeatedly Sam Bennett to fight. He's doing such a good job on the ice. Why would he want to fight someone and take himself off the ice? So I believe it'd be in the best interest of Sam Bennett not to fight. The Oilers can keep asking him, but they won't. My idea is you want to continue to be physical on him, play between the whistles, and the D-men, when you see him on the ice, establish a better and stronger position so he can't get to the net. He can't get to Stu Skinner and fall on him. So you have to recognize Bennett's out here. I got to start that engagement of him to stop him from going to the net in the corner, not just when you arrive close to the net. So no, Sam Bennett's not going to fight. It's a two-way street, guys.
Okay, a couple of comments here. We'll wrap up the poll and then we'll get to the play of the day. Just Steve did have and again, I think I was trying to go easy on Shaugger. But Steve did have a great comment about right off the hop about the shirt. He says, "Did you lose your luggage and buy a shirt in the hotel shop, Shaugger?" Again, it's from a sponsor, so we're not being too hard. It's the right shirt for somebody, It's just maybe it's just not Shaugger. And then this will lead us into the poll where we asked for some other people's senior moments. Ace96 said, if you start using Preparation H as your hair gel, that's when you know that you're too old. So that's a good tip. Certainly at the very least, it's time to get glasses then. And that brings us to the YouTube poll. Hopefully I put the right, nope, that's not it. I'll find, where is it? This one here. The YouTube poll tonight was, which of these supposed senior traits or behaviors can you most relate to as you get older? Forgetting why you walked into a room won this one at 46%. That might have been the easy one. I think even in our 20s and 30s, we have that one. Oh, yeah. Leaving closed captioning on was 25%. Large phone font / reader glasses, 17%. And I'm happy to say, actually, even though I don't have, maybe I should though, 10% say owning a pill organizer, which I don't know, there's some comfort in that for me, even though I haven't gone that direction yet. When I do, I'll know that I'm in good company.
So good. All good submissions. And I think the right one probably pulled it out there. Okay, let's get this, wrap it up. Great. Thanks everyone for joining us. It's been absolutely awesome. Tons of good comments in there. Let's get to our play of the day now, brought to you by Gallery Dental. Take the first step towards a stress-free dental experience, providing modern dentistry for today's patient with the most up-to-date dentistry, sedation, implants, and so much more. Contact gallerydentalYEG.com. I'm going to go to the world of basketball. You and I are quite pretty avid watchers of the NBA. Oklahoma City gets even up in the series, 123-107, and Shai Gilgeous tops all scorers, 34 points in that win. As I mentioned earlier, he missed a key shot with like 5-10 seconds left in game one. They would have, well, I probably sealed it. It would have got him a 3-point lead.
That's
Anyways,
right, yeah.
Pacers stunned them in game one. OKC looks like they dominated in game two, led by Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, the Canadian. Now there's 4 Canadians in this series, 2 on each side, so we can't go wrong. But I want to see Shea win it. So let's get it done for Shea.
Yeah, boy, in the NBA, you blink. You know, I follow it a little bit. You probably follow it more, but like you blink and it's Indiana and OKC in the final. Like it seemed like we were getting so many of the same teams over and over again, or certainly the same players leading their super teams to the finals. And it's cool to see these teams in it. And yeah, I'm pulling for Shea as well. Definitely, I'd love to see that happen.
So good. So good. So that's going on off days. Tomorrow we're back at it, Oilers fans. Get some sleep. Have a nap if you're listening to this tomorrow morning or Monday morning. Get some rest. We're going to need it. Oilers are going to get this done. I can't wait to see what the lines look like. I can't wait to see how Florida is at home. The Oilers are good on the road as well. Thank you to you for all your comments, for joining us tonight. Tell a friend. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you got a chance so you know when we're on. Thanks to all our sponsors for making this possible. Zuby, great job. Brownie, Shaugger also participated. I would give them a participant raise and rhythm for this effort here, but you and I carried it as per usual. Zuby, any final words? Zub is on the way out the door.
No, it's a yellow ribbon for those guys, and thanks for being here.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Zuby, great job. Tomorrow night we're back post game.
Yes,
let's do this, Oilers. Let's get a win. Talk to you guys then. Get some rest, everyone.
Good night.